Well, hello, me lords and ladies, and welcome to another episode of our Warhammer painting series. This is coming out of City of Ash expansion. Yep. We're painting the Mallus Forgepriest. First off, I want to say thank you to all my YouTube members. You guys are absolutely amazing. Can't thank you guys enough. You'll get early access to this. This will be Friday's video, but you will have access to it on Sunday. For anybody who watches these videos, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell so you get alerted every time we go live. A lot of paints, but we'll get through it. Let's go. All right, the first thing you're going to do is obviously build your miniature, scraping off all those nasty mold lines and inserting them. And then I spray painted. Well, I did a airbrush of black, completely black, and then white from above. So you have that zenithal highlighting, a little bit of black sticking through. For all of our flesh, so that includes the face and the hands and the arms, we're doing some Gulliman Flesh on there, so the white will stick through. Next, for that bottom portion of the skirt, we're going to do some Gryph-Charger Grey on there. For the trim, there's going to be some Wyldwood. If you get onto the armor places, it's not a big deal because we're going to paint over that armor here in a little bit. Obviously, there are a lot of paints, individual paints for this miniature. I really like the look of this miniature. I think it is a gorgeous looking model, and that's why I kind of chose it over some others to paint up. I really wanted to paint this guy. So we're just going over all of that trim with the Wyldwood real quick. Obviously, I just don't hit every spot. I just kind of show you where we're hitting, and we're also using this for the backdrop on that wood as well. Cygor Brown, we're going to be using this on all of the boots. And then a nice little couple spots that I'll show you here in a second on that backpack with the roll, the bed roll, and the fur as well. All right, for the fur, we're going to be using some Black Templar. And obviously, if you've been watching this or been painting with these contrast paints, Black Templar is more of an opaque black compared to Black Legion. I know it's a little out of focus, but we're hitting all those fur areas underneath that bedroll and then that little strap as well. For the parchment coming down, we're going to be using some Skeleton Horde. You can also use Seraphim Sepia if you don't have Skeleton Horde. Either or will suffice on that. For the rope, some Snakebite Leather is a perfect color for any type of regular looking rope. All right, for the arms, the portion by the front groin area, I guess you could say, and then the sides, you'll see it all, how I paint it. Obviously, I don't paint everything. I just show you where I am painting. We're using some Thunderhawk Blue, and if you are not sure exactly where everything goes so far, we're going to be doing a spin around after this shot, so you'll be able to see everything. All right, for the box, we'll be using some Black Legion. Obviously, this is the darker of the two blacks. This is more dark than the opaque Black Templar. All right, moving on to metallics. There is a lot of metallics, so we're using Iron Warriors. The first thing we're going to be doing on is the hammer itself, except for the middle of the hammer, the handle of the hammer, the two armor pieces in the front. I'm going to show you everything. There's going to be multiple frames, so just follow along. For this specific hammer, we're going to be using some Castellax Bronze. The bottom of the hammer as well on this, and then the middle and the piece coming down as well. All right, almost done with our base paints. A lot of colors, but we're getting there. For the designs on that armor, we're going to be using some Retributor Armour. This includes the chest piece as well, the medallion that our priest is holding, our Forgepriest. Let me be proper here, give him the proper respect. And then the back as well, from where we painted the Wyldwood. The thing's sticking up above his head. I don't know what it is, but it's cool. They've got the coolest miniatures, Warhammer, I swear they do. But we'll have another shot here in a second so you can kind of see everything. Avoid the emerald pieces in the medallions if you can. We are going to paint them over with white. Again, like I just smashed into that thing on accident, so just be cognizant of that. And you just get that whole back area and then the small back area right on the middle of the back on our Forgepriest. And then for our last base color, we're going to do some Screaming Skull onto that parchment area right there. I know it's kind of bright. Yeah, messing with the lighting on this one. And we're also going to use it on the handle as well. Then we'll be moving on to the wash step. All right, for our washes, all of our silver metallic areas and the Thunderhawk Blue areas, we will be doing Nulin Oil. Pretty simple. For all of our gold, we'll be using some Fyreslayer Flesh. It is a contrast paint. I know it turns it real dark, but I really enjoy using Fyreslayer Flesh on gold. You can also use Nulin Flesh Shade, or you can use Agrax Earthshade It's up to you, but I do the Fyreslayer Flesh. For the bronze areas, we'll be doing some Agrax Earthshade. So just the hammer areas for this. And finally, we'll be doing some Seraphim Sepia on that back parchment. The handle on the one hammer, and then we're going to be doing this all over that Gryph-Charger Grey area. Turns it kind of a greenish. Looks kind of cool in my opinion. All right, once everything is dry, we will move on to the highlights. The first thing we'll do is the skin. And we're going to be doing some Cadian flesh tone over all of our skin. Only the raised areas. Don't get anything in the recesses. Just be careful with this. And we're just going to smooth that skin out real quick. It's kind of a long shot, and it wasn't my best filming day, if you know what I mean. But once you're done with that, we're just going to go over it with some Kislev Flesh that you'll see here in a moment. And we're just going to paint over the same exact areas, making sure that our skin is nice and silky smooth as well. We are also going to paint those eyes that I did off camera. I forgot to film it. Eyes are very hard to film on camera because you got to get your face right in there, so I can't really do it that well. But we just did some white in the orbitals with a little bit of black to create the eyes. All right, for the Thunderhawk Blue areas, we're just going to highlight all the raised areas with some Fenrisian Grey. You can do just an edge highlighting if you would like, or very small areas, but I decided to go through all of the raised areas to brighten it up a little bit. All right, for the trim around all that areas, we're just going to do a quick little raised area highlight of some Gorthor Brown. Nothing too crazy. Try and keep those edges on the trim that original color to give it some contrast. For that, I think it's a water skin. That's what my brain is saying, water skin. We're going to do all the raised areas in some Mournfang Brown to brighten it up. Yeah, nothing too crazy, but make sure you do a 360 on that water skin. For that bottom skirt, we will be doing some Nurgling Green, and I'm only doing an edge highlighting and getting those raised areas. It just creates a subtle transition, brightens it up a little bit, but it's not overpowering. So again, I'm just going over the raised areas, doing some trimming, not going overboard with it, and just hitting it just to create some variance of color. All right, for all of our parchment areas, we're just going to do edge highlighting and raised area highlighting with some Screaming Skull. So a vast majority of this is just edge highlighting, and there's a couple raised areas that you can see that I painted right there. And I'm just very carefully going around the edges and giving it some outlining. You could go over the entirety of it and paint everything except for the recesses in Screaming Skull. It's up to you, but I just did like an edge highlighting on it to give it that nice outline. But again, it's up to you. And I think it turned out pretty decent, as you can see right there. For our Castellax Bronze areas, we're just going to do a highlight of Runelord Brass. So I'm going over the entirety of that hammer, and then we're just going to do the raised areas on the bigger hammer that this Forge Priest is holding. I'm not going overboard with that, keeping some of that original Castellax Bronze right there. So not going crazy on it. All right, for all of our metallics, we're going to go over it with a Leadbelcher. If you've been watching any of my videos, this is my favorite way to paint silver. I am a big fan of the Iron Warriors with a wash and then Leadbelcher on top. It's not super bright, but it is bright enough to know that it is a metallic. So we're just going over all of the armor bits and brightening it up, making it look a little shiny. For our gold, there's a couple options. You could do a reapplication of Retributor Armour, which would be perfectly fine. Or you can use Liberator Gold, which is a little bit brighter gold, which I'm using here. So just go over all the gold areas. It's going to take a little bit of time. Just be cognizant. Just try not to get that onto anything else, obviously. All right, our miniature itself is finished. So if you don't want to do what I'm doing on the base, you can do something else. But for the rocks that our Forge Priest is standing on, I'm using some black Templar. For the base that I had put Stirland Mud down before I primed it, I'm doing some Gorthor Brown. Just being very careful, obviously, not to get it onto the rocks. And once that is dry, take some Agrax Earthshade that you'll see here right now and put that on there. Now, once that Agrax Earthshade was dry, I just did a quick dry brush of the Gorthor Brown on top of that, and then I ended up putting some fake grass on the bottom. And then your favorite part of painting the miniature, because it means you're done, was the rim of the base in Abaddon Black. And that's how our Mallus Forgepriest turned out. Turned out decent. Turned out pretty good. Nothing crazy. Looks good enough to be on the table. Again, a lot of stuff going on in that Forge Priest, but you made it through. So I want to say thank you for everybody watching, and if you've made it to this point, I really appreciate you. I want to say thank you to all my YouTube members. You guys are absolutely amazing. Again, you will get access to this Sunday night. This will be the Friday video, so 5-day early access. Yay, you guys. Just depending on how long it takes YouTube to get this uploaded onto the site. We got a lot of stuff coming up. A lot more Warhammer. We've got 1 miniature left in Elden Ring. We're going to finish up before we get another expansion of that. We've got some Chronicles of Drunagar, some Hawk RPG. We got a bunch of stuff. But I love you all, and I will see you on the next one. All right, paint on.